Shalom Israel, back with another GMS on the go. I'm Brother Nakum. Before I go any further, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Abba Hashem Yahweh Shai. Next up, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone from teaching us this 100% truth for the Bible. And all you sincere aqua start the folk on this earth keep pushing. And we're going to dive right into it. This is Jeremiah, started chapter 10, verse 1. And it reads, "Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel." And the house of Israel consists of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's who the house of Israel could talk was. That's who the house of Israel consists of. So the Most High wasn't talking to these so-called Doodoo Africans who biblically are the Hamites. He wasn't talking to the so-called white people, who are biblically Edomites. He wasn't talking to the so-called Arabs who are biblically the Ishmaelites. He wasn't talking to Ammon and Moab who are biblically the he wasn't talking to the Japanese, the so-called Japanese and Chinese who are biblically Ammon and Moab. He said, "Hear the words which he's speaking to you, O house of Israel, so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Americans." So that's who he's talking to. Verse 2. Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. Right, don't learn the ways of these heathens. We just named the heathens, who, once again, the heathens, the so-called white man, so-called Arabs, so-called Chinese, Japanese, and Doodoo Africans. Don't learn the ways of these other heathens, Let them do what they do. Whatever they do, don't follow the ways of them, Because the ways of the things that they do and the ways that they do things is wicked. We're supposed to be separate. We're supposed to be separate from the other nations, We're better than these other nations, so we shouldn't be following the ways and learn the ways after these heathen nations, Because once again, the ways that they doing things are wicked, and it's folly, It says, "Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen." So we're not going to learn the ways of these heathen, And what's some of the ways of the heathen? Celebrating all these pagan holidays, such as Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, 4th of July, Valentine's Day, New Year's, Don't celebrate none of that pagan holidays, Let the heathens have them pagan holidays. We got our own holidays to celebrate, Don't learn the ways of these heathens. Sleeping with the next man's wife, vice versa. You're not supposed to do that. If you got a wife, you sleep with your wife. And if you see another woman that's not betrothed, and she hasn't had sex before, then you can have it. But if she's married already, you're not supposed to be sleeping with that lady. You keep them in adultery. But these other heathen nations, they do all that stuff. Don't learn the ways of these heathen nations, Worship all these false gods who are no gods, We got our own power to worship. Yahweh Abba Hashem Yahweh Shai, the creator of the heavens and the earth, We got our own power. Don't learn the ways of the heathen. Don't start following Allah, Buddha, Santa Maria, the Hindu god of Shiva, Caesar Borgia. Don't start learning the ways of these heathen by celebrating they false gods who are no gods. False gods can't save you in the time of your trouble. So don't learn the ways of these heathens. Don't learn the ways of these heathens. Don't learn the ways of these heathens by eating shrimp, pork, crab, lobster, Let them have that, We're not supposed to be eating all that stuff because when you eat it, you get high blood pressure from eating that stuff. Diabetes, get gout. That's why the Most High gave you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans the laws, statutes, and commandments to follow, so you would know what to do and what not to do, But when you do it anyway, things happen. You get destroyed, you get killed, you get punished because the Most High told you don't do this stuff, And now y'all learn the ways of the heathen. Y'all eating all your shrimp, pork, crab, lobster. You worship all the false gods who are no gods. You celebrating all these pagan holidays, You sleeping in there, man. You doing everything the heathens doing, When the scriptures tell you, learn not the ways of the heathens, Don't learn the ways of these heathens. It ain't gonna get you nowhere, but but getting put to death, or harsh judgment. So learn not the ways of the heathens, Verse 3. Oh, Salaki. Verse 2 still. Let me start at verse 2. Check this, Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. "Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathens are dismayed at them." Right. So you so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Americans, y'all not supposed to be dismayed at the signs of heaven thereof, And some of the signs in heaven is like the sun, the stars, the moon. Because, like, Salaki, these heathen nations, they'll see a shooting star, and they'll start worshiping it, They'll see this shooting star, thinking it's a star just shooting when it's really a UFO going by, you know. Or they'll see the blood moon and start worshiping the blood moon, you know. They'll see the sun and just start worshiping the sun. So he's telling you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans, even though we already know 2/3 gonna do what the heathens do, because they learned the ways of the heathen, because they're rebellious people. He's telling you don't learn the ways of the heathen, you know. Don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven or earth, because we know these signs of heaven, like the blood moon, once again, the chariots of Israel, you know, like that shooting star, which is the chariots, you know, the UFOs, the moon and all that stuff. We know when the blood moon and all that stuff comes, and what is it? The blood moon, what is it called? Salaki Israel. What is it called? The eclipse and all of that. We know when we see those stuff in heaven, those are signs of the Most High, you know? We know those are signs. But these heathen nations, they don't know their signs. They don't know what it is, so they just start worshiping them, you know? They're amazed by the signs of heaven, you know? These heathen nations, they see all that stuff, they worship it, or they don't know what it is. They get afraid of it because they don't know what it is. But we get happy because we know it's the signs of the times that we living in, you know? So we're not dismayed. We're not going to learn the ways of heathen, you know? We're not going to do what they do. We're not going to worship the signs of heaven, you know? And be dismayed at the signs of heaven thereof, you know? Because the heathens are dismayed at them, right? So I'm going to get a precept real quick. Because this is what's going to happen to 2/3 of these so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans if you keep learning the ways of these heathens. This is Salakia Israel. Salakia Israel. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Salakia. My other Bible at. Salakia Israel. Alright, we're almost there. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 10. And it reads, so this was going to happen to 2/3 so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans if you don't start learning the ways of the heathens, you know. Amos 9, verse 10. All the descendants of my people, he said, Most High said, all the descendants of my people, that my is possessive. So all the descendants of my people, which we know is 2/3, shall die by the sword, which say, evil should not overtake us nor prevent us. So 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans, because y'all keep learning the ways of the heathen, participating, you know, and following the customs of America, you know. 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans are going to die by the sword. And what's that sword? That sword is any killing instrument, whether it be a gun, a knife, a rocket launcher, a tank, a missile, you know, your fist, you know, whatever the case may be. 2/3 of you are going to die by the sword, you know. Because you think all the wickedness you're doing, all the evil, all the wickedness you're doing, like I said earlier, well, like the scripture says, like it, all the wickedness you're doing, learning the ways of the heathen, you know, celebrating their customs and all that stuff, you know, Christmas and all that, sleep with the next man's wife, you know, worshiping all these false gods, idolatries and the idols and all that, you know, eating all this abominable food, all this wickedness you're doing. You're thinking that all this wickedness, you know, that evil is not gonna that evil is not gonna overtake you, you know, and you think the evil is not gonna prevent you, you know. But the Most High said otherwise, you know. All the sinners, my people, are gonna die by the sword. So 2/3, because you keep learning the ways of the heathens, you know, back in Jeremiah 10 verse 1, you're gonna die by the sword. You know that evil is gonna overtake you. Evil's going, for all the wickedness you've been doing, the evil is gonna come upon you because you didn't stop learning the ways for the heathen. So 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans are gonna die. You know. So I'm going back to going back to Jeremiah 10 verse 1. Yeah, but right. 2/3 so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans, y'all gonna die. You know? Cause y'all think it ain't nothing wrong with y'all learning the ways of the heathens, you know? But Most High said otherwise. Y'all are going to die by that sword because y'all think all the wicked you're doing, all the evil is not going to overtake y'all. But it is. It is. This is Jeremiah from the top again. Chapter 10, verse 1. Hear the words. I'm going to read it one more time and I'm going to close out. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Once again, talking about you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans. This says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. So don't learn the ways of these heathen nations. Don't do what they do. Because it tells you on Deuteronomy 7 and 6 that you are a special people, unto Yahweh thy power. He has chosen you to be a special people unto himself above all the nations on the face of the earth. So the Most High chose you so-called blacks, Latino, and Americans to be a special people unto himself. Why are you going to learn the ways of the heathen, If anything, you should be setting an example for them to want to be like you. Don't learn the ways of the heathen. You're special. You're better than these other nations, And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven thereof. So and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathens are dismayed at them, right? So don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven, because the heathens are dismayed at them, So once again, Israel, don't learn the ways of these heathens. Once again, which we already know, 2/3 gonna learn the ways of the heathens. Because like the scripture said, Amos 9 and 8, all the sinners are gonna die by the sword. So if you keep learning the ways of these heathens, you're gonna die by that sword. And evil is gonna overtake you, It's gonna overtake you for all your wickedness that you've been doing, So with that, hope you've been edified. It's been another GMS on the go. I'm Brother Nakam. Before I go any further, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. Next up, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this 100% truth of the Bible. And all you sincere outcomes start the four corners of earth. Keep pushing. Shalom.